About 15 years ago, when I lived in Los Angeles, I had a good friend, actually a best friend, who also moved out to Los Angeles. And we decided to get an apartment together. And in a new apartment, you usually need new furniture and new appliances. And we decided to split the bill of a new TV. The problem was that neither of us had enough money to actually pay for the TV outright, so we put it on a credit card. And I put this credit card in my name. Fast forward about 1 year's time, some unfortunate events happened to my friend and he had to move back to New York. Now, I didn't expect him to take the TV with him to New York, so I kept it in my apartment in Los Angeles. And then about 6 months later, I decided to move back to New York and I wasn't going to take this TV with me, so I wanted to sell it. I was successful in selling it, but the issue was that TVs lose their value very quickly. So even though I sold it, I still had about a $900 bill on this credit card. So I was in New York living with a $900 credit card bill for a TV that I purchased in Los Angeles that I could no longer use anymore, that I could no longer benefit from. And upon reflecting on this situation, I was really upset and angry and had a resentment towards my friend for the way he handled it, for the way everything went down. And it left me feeling hurt and disrespected. And I held on to these feelings for quite some time because this person who I called my friend didn't acknowledge his role in all of this. He didn't acknowledge his responsibility or didn't take any accountability for his actions. And that left me feeling angry and upset and really holding this resentment towards him for quite some time. I think it's fairly safe to say that each and every one of us has been wronged by somebody in our lives. Or at least we felt like we were wronged by somebody in our lives. Whether it was a family member, a friend, a coworker, or even a stranger that you just met in that moment. And they may have said something or may have done something that hurt your feelings, that you felt disrespected by. And as a result, you started to feel angry and upset and frustrated. And then that can turn into resentment and holding and harboring a grudge towards this person. Now, I'm not saying you're not allowed to have these feelings of anger or frustration or feeling sad or upset. You're allowed to feel those feelings. You're entitled to those feelings, especially in that moment. That's not what I want to talk about. What I want to focus on is after the fact, is as some time passes, are you still harboring these resentments? Are you still holding on to these grudges for this person? If you answered yes to this question, then the only person that you're hurting is yourself. You see, there's this saying, holding on to this anger, holding on to these grudges is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. Think about it. When you have these resentments, when you have these grudges, and you hold on to them, they're like poison. And when you harbor them, it's like drinking that poison. But in your head, you think by having a resentment or having a grudge towards somebody else that it's going to affect them. They'll see, they'll get what's coming to them. And this mentality is just harmful to you. It consumes you. You allow it to rent space in your brain. And by continuously thinking about it, you will continue to poison yourself with negative thoughts that affect you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And the interesting thing is that this person that you hold a grudge towards might not even know that you have a grudge towards them, because they may not even know that they did something wrong. And that doesn't mean that they didn't do something wrong. It just wasn't brought to their attention possibly. So if you didn't approach this person and tell them how you felt, then how can this person even know that they may have done something wrong? And they may have actually done something wrong. I'm not saying that. And your feelings may be justified. You may be feeling a certain type of way because something that somebody did was actually wrong and that actually disrespected you. But if you didn't bring it up to them, then how do they know? And if they go on living their life not knowing what happened, and you go on living your life having this grudge, then at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. You're only poisoning yourself because you're allowing yourself to be consumed by these feelings of anger, these feelings of resentment. And if you look at these feelings of resentment and anger and holding grudges as poison, then why would you want to hold on to them? Why would you want to harbor them? Why would you willingly want to poison yourself? You wouldn't. You actually shouldn't want to do that. But people do. I have done it in the past. With that situation that I referenced in the beginning, I held on to that grudge for so long. So I was poisoning myself on a daily basis because I didn't like the way this person handled the situation. I never confronted him initially, so I felt that he was wrong. He did me wrong. And I held this grudge for so many years. And when I approached him about it, when I had the opportunity, he acted like nothing even happened. And to be honest, in that moment was when I decided to let go, because I was so consumed by it. And when it came to a head in that moment, when I saw him face to face and he didn't seem fazed by it, didn't really bring it up, I took a step back and I was like, you know, if he's not bringing it up and not talking about it or addressing it, and it's been so many years, then why should I? Why should I even talk about it? And some people might say that, you know, you might want to clear the air, or have closure. But at the end of the day, for who? He's not worried about it. So am I doing it just for myself? That could seem selfish because it was already over and done with. I paid the money. It was $900. At the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. It was more so about how the situation was handled. But I saw his true colors in this situation. He was going through some adversity. He decided to do certain things with his life. And that showed me the type of person that he was. And it led to us not being friends anymore. And that's okay. Life happens. People grow apart. Certain situations bring out the true colors or certain personality traits or qualities of a person that you might not agree with. But that's okay. And then I let go. And when I let go, it was literally like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt free. I felt like I could breathe again. And that sounds, I don't know if that sounds weird or that sounds, I don't know, it doesn't sound truthful or doesn't sound like it's relatable, but to me, that's how I felt. I felt like something was removed from my life that didn't serve me. And that's what was really important. This grudge, this resentment, this anger wasn't serving me. But I chose to hold on to it for quite some time. And upon some reflection, it's because it felt like this grudge, this resentment, allowed me to have power over the situation because I was holding on to it. And that's the only thing that really connected me to that situation anymore was this grudge, was this anger, were these feelings. But it wasn't. It was perceived power, perceived control that wasn't real. And it didn't serve me. And it wasn't until that I removed it from my life that I realized that this whole time it wasn't serving me. But I had to go through it. I had to go through this process of eliminating it to understand it. I'm not trying to say that you're not allowed to feel angry. You're not allowed to feel frustrated or upset. Those feelings are justified. If you feel like somebody did something wrong to you, disrespected you, hurt your feelings, you're allowed to feel angry and upset. You're allowed to feel sad. What I'm trying to say is we shouldn't allow these feelings to go on for a long time. We shouldn't allow them to fester within us for a long period of time. Because if we do, then they can turn into these grudges and these resentments, which are poison. So instead, if you feel upset, if you feel angry, if you feel like somebody disrespected you, then you need to address that situation. You need to talk to this person. Now, you might need to take a little time to gather your thoughts, understand where all these feelings are coming from. That's okay. So you can have a better understanding of how to approach this person. But once you do, then it's so important. It's extremely important to talk to this person. Understand where they're coming from. Even if you know what they did is wrong. If you want to let it go, then you need to talk to this person. If you want to have the ability to remove it from your life, then you need to see where this person was coming from. Discuss with them the whole situation. And if you still disagree with them and how they handled it, that's fine. But you need to release these emotions. You need to release these feelings. Because if you don't, then you harbor them. And that turns into those grudges. That turns into the resentment that you may hold on to for years. And all it will do is hurt you. All it will do is poison you. And it doesn't serve you. You do not need this negative energy. You do not need these negative thoughts in your mind. Because even if you don't think they're there. Something will spark it and you'll think about a situation or a person that angered you and frustrated you. And if you didn't resolve it, then you're gonna feel that resentment. Those grudges are gonna come up. And in your brain, you're gonna have these thoughts that are negative. And when you have negative thoughts, it creates this dissonance in your body. It creates chaos. Even if it's not chaotic like you would think, like something in the external. But if you have internal chaos, that's not good for you. And you do it to yourself if you don't address the situation. You do it to yourself if you don't remove these feelings, if you don't remove these resentments, if you don't remove these grudges. So it's so important to stay on top of this. It's so important to be diligent and be consciously aware if you harbor these grudges or if you know that these resentments can pile up within you. And if you have these grudges in your self right now and you know that you still hold on to certain things, you need to work on letting them go. Even if it was years ago and you feel like you can speak to this person about it, do so. If you don't feel like you can, then you need to really try to just let it go. It's over and done with. It's in the past. It's way overdue. It doesn't matter anymore. And if this person didn't bring it up, then they might not even know that it happened or know that it affected you like this. Or they might have forgot about it because they didn't think it was a big deal. Regardless, if you hold on to these resentments, if you hold on to these grudges, the only person that you're hurting at the end of the day is yourself. So do your best. Try your hardest. Put in the time. Put in the effort. Dedicate yourself to removing them from your life. They do not serve you. Let them go and accept the fact that sometimes this person that you have a grudge towards might not change, and that's okay. But you need to do what's best for yourself. You need to do what's in your best interest so that you can grow, that you can evolve, and that you can become the best version of yourself. I'll be honest. If you don't remove these grudges, if you don't remove these resentments, then they're like roadblocks. They're like these blocks in your path, in your spiritual path. They won't allow you to grow because you can't maneuver around them. They're these brick walls that are built. And to be honest, they're walls that you built. You built them yourself. You allowed them to get so big and so wide that you can't get around them. The only way is to go through them, but to go through those blocks, to make it through these grudges and resentments, is to remove them. And then you will free yourself. Then you will allow yourself to move forward on your journey, move forward on your spiritual path that can lead to growth and that can lead to you becoming a better version of yourself. But only when you acknowledge these grudges, only when you acknowledge these resentments, will you be able to remove them. Be aware. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest. Be true to yourself. Because if you're not, then the only person that you're hurting, like I said before, is yourself. We all have grudges. We all have resentments. I don't care who you are. We've all experienced those feelings. We're human. It happens. It's what you do when you know that they exist that's important. When you're aware of them and remove them, you're doing for yourself something amazing. When you're aware of them and you let them stay and let them consume you, then you're hurting yourself. Then you're impeding your growth. You're actively not allowing yourself to grow. Don't do that. Give yourself a chance. Allow yourself to be the best version of yourself. Allow yourself to truly be happy. Allow yourself to truly be joyous and be free. But you can't be free if you have these blocks in your life that are these grudges and resentments. You can't be free. You'll close yourself in. You'll create these boundaries that don't let you become who you should be, who you may want to be, who you deserve to be. So all I ask is that you take a step back. Take a step back and look at yourself. Do some self-reflecting. But you need to be honest. You need to be brutally honest about who you may harbor grudges towards, who you may hold resentments towards. And if it's helpful, make a list. Write down people's names that you've been holding grudges towards. And when you look at this list, when you look at these people's names, there might be some people on there that you're like, why was I holding a grudge towards this person? Why was I allowing myself to invest time and energy and mental space towards this person? And then you can remove that grudge. You can remove those feelings because they don't serve you. There also might be some people on this list who are unfortunately no longer alive. And you need to make peace with that. And you can still make peace with that. There are ways that you can resolve the situation and remove those feelings of resentment and anger or frustration towards this person, even if they're not alive anymore. There also might be some people on this list that in no way, shape, or form, in any scenario, do you think that you could go up to them and talk to them and resolve the situation. It just can't happen. And that's okay. But if that's the case, you need to remove them from your life. And what I mean is you need to remove those grudges, because even if they're not in your life physically, they're still there with that grudge. So you need to remove it, get rid of it, because it doesn't serve you anymore. And then finally, there are some people on this list, or there might be some people on this list that you want to talk to, that you want to resolve old feelings, and you want to let them know how you felt, and you want to let them know how they made you feel during a certain situation. And by doing so, you can clear the air, and you can remove those feelings. You can remove those resentments, because they don't serve you. So, be diligent. But work towards removing these grudges. Be active in your growth. Be active in your evolution. Be an active participant in your life. It takes work. It takes dedication, and it takes time and energy. But I can't do it for you. You can't do it for me. No one else can do it for any of us. It takes us, the individual, to put in the work. Because if you don't, then you're going to hold on to these grudges. You're going to hold on to these resentments that at the end of the day are just poison. And none of us, none of us should want to poison ourselves. I don't want to poison myself. I don't think anybody here wants to poison themselves, but we do it when we hold on to these grudges and these resentments. So free yourself of them. Remove them from your life so you can truly be happy, so that you can truly be joyous, and that you can truly be free. Have an amazing day, everyone. Have a blessed day. Always be grateful. Always remember to be grateful for this moment. For this moment right now, whether it's positive or negative, is all we truly have. So remember to be grateful for it. Remember to be thankful for it. And smile. Always remember to smile. I'll talk to everybody soon.